US Rugby Happy Hour Live. Interviews with the biggest names in American rugby.
The New England Free Jacks, Major League Rugby champions. One-on-one to score.
Here are your hosts, Phil Baker and that other guy.
Hello and welcome to US Rugby Happy Hour. In just a few minutes, we have two guests coming. Rugby Morning's John Fitzpatrick and American Rugby Rising's Bill Baker will be joining us just in a few minutes. These two guys are brilliant. They know everything about everything. I mean, there's a good chance we might, I don't know, we're going to talk Disney. We know everything. With that said, it's the other John Fitzpatrick. Fitzy, how are you, man?
Good. Who's this other guy? He sounds really interesting.
He does. You'll find out soon. He looks similar to you. Got the similar look. But he actually knows what he's talking about. He's amazing.
Well, low bar here at American Rugby.
Low bar.
As in US Rugby Happy Hour Live.
Well, I believe Baker and Fitzpatrick will be talking about the state of the American game, the state of the union, if you want to call that, state of American rugby. Let's keep working on more phrases that would work for today's show. A lot going on, as you know, Fitzy. Just MLR changes still. USA Men's Eagle just were on a field against another team for 80 minutes. Lots went on in Chicago, trying to showcase the game to the world. Ups and downs about that. So lots to get into, and I think it's a great time to really talk about the state of the game here in the United States, or the sport of rugby, because of all those eyes that were on the Chicago game, Ireland versus New Zealand, because of the world media noticing that we just lost another team in Major League Rugby. It's I don't know if we're here to really just cover it or to say everybody it's going to be okay. Do we believe that, though? Do you believe that? So we're going to get into it. And as usual, Fitzy, we do have an introduction for our guests. That's right. For our two guests.
Okay.
And let's hear it.
Let's go! Sevens, 15s, World Cup, college, Major League, USA, all things American rugby! And now, all things American rugby! And now, all things American rugby! The state of American rugby.
And there it is. Introduction for our two guests. Hello, John Fitzpatrick. How are you today?
Hello, Bill Baker. I'm great. I'm glad I got a name. I'm not the other guy, like the other guy.
Well, when you are a guest, you get a name. It's amazing. Oh, you know what? For the first time ever, Fitzy, our jingle department did send us two songs.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
With another option. Shall we do it? Shall we play it? Let's see what we think about this one.
Let's do it.
Let's go! 7, 15, World Cup Rugby! College! Major League! USA Rugby! All things American Rugby! And now, Bill and Fitzy! Bill and Fitzy! Bring you! Stay on! State of the Rugby Union!
Okay.
I kind of like that one.
I felt like I was in a big crowd, like at Soldier Field watching an international match.
Oh, absolutely. That's totally what it was. It was almost like that. John Fitzpatrick, Fitzy, what a weekend. Let's kick it off. Okay, the state of American rugby. Let's kick it off for a non-USA involved game, but involved in the USA. A weekend in Chicago. I was there for the weekend. I thought the atmosphere was amazing in the city, as it was way back in 2016, the same match I also went to. That was fresh. That 16 match was fresh. It's going to be really hard to top that. Great game. First time Ireland ever beat New Zealand. The Chicago Cubs were just coming off their first World Series title and parade that same weekend. It was, I knew it was going to be really tough to top that. Fitzy, did you watch the match on TV, correct?
I did watch it on Peacock.
On Peacock, yes. So it was broadcasted all around the world, as you can imagine. Again, like I said, events over events. I mean, I was all over the place. I was at at Chief O'Neill's, just north of the city, with Todd Clever, Will Hooley. Todd brought his wife, and they're all decked out in costumes. There was, and then Saturday for the game, there were great pregame festivities everywhere. This place called Reggie's. I sat in with the Rugby Rant as I did a live podcast with a couple of former U.S. Eagles on there as well. And, of course, the game hours later at Soldier Field, which New Zealand came out with the victory. The hawk was amazing. But, again, looking back from my perspective, at Soldier Field, it just didn't live up to the potential it should have. And from when I'm reading, people that watched it wherever felt the same way. So let's start with that, Fitzy. Your end of the perspective, watching on TV, what was your thoughts of the match itself?
Yeah, the match certainly stop-start there at the beginning, the early yellow to red. It was on TV. It was great that you were able to find it on Peacock, and the crowd looked great, and it was sold out. It was loud. The field didn't look great, right? You watch an international rugby match, and I know it's in a football stadium, and I know it's Soldier Field, and I know it costs a lot of money to replace turf because they probably had to. But still seeing the yard line, from the Chicago Bears, not ideal, wasn't great. The game itself, again, it's the pageantry of an international match is awesome. No doubt Chicago is a great rugby city. I mean, let's go back. The first time Ireland and New Zealand played here and Ireland beat them. Even go before that when USA played New Zealand here. Like, it was fun. It was festive. The crowd was into it. That scoreline got away, obviously. Billing it the rematch. I mean, I get it. It's the rematch of it taking place in Chicago. I think maybe the build-up, the anticipation, just maybe didn't quite deliver the way it should have. But that shouldn't take anything away from the fact that the fans showed up. That Chicago is a great venue to host something like this. And you got to think they're going to be in the running for a quarterfinal, semifinal, maybe final in 2031 and 33, simply because Chicagoans will come out and support high-level rugby.
Well, not just that. So one of the worries is if America can't handle a World Cup, and is a big country. And we'll talk more about the World Cup stuff later. But there was a huge amount of people flew in from New Zealand and Chicago or Ireland, and there was also a lot of expats living in the United States, especially in Ireland, and especially in Chicago. So the stands, the sellout, is the way it's going to be. We're going to sell out these stadiums because those fans will come in for it, just like they did in Japan 2019, even though I just said we'll talk about that later. I said it again. But from my perspective, for those people that were in the stands, it just wasn't a great presentation. There were stadium sound issues. Obviously, everyone knows the TMO couldn't see anything on the board. Issues between the television truck or broadcasting and the in-house video feeds and the video department. The music, they always try to fill the dead time between plays with music, I guess like they do for NFL games. That's not what you really do in rugby games, especially high-level rugby games. Music's good, but even when they did play music, it sounded like this canned stuff they use, on the bed of a commercial or something. It wasn't, wasn't popular music, and maybe they couldn't afford it. Who knows for this thing? But then, again, they sold out of beer. How, and especially Guinness, how do you... they didn't sell out all the beer. How do you sell out a Guinness when half of Ireland's going to be there? Even though it's, it's in a can and pure Irish. We're like, I won't drink that crap. But they did. I did. And then there was some feedback about the expense of beers, $17 for Miller Lite, whatever else.
What? $17?
$17 for a beer.
Even?
Yeah. They were good size, but it's a lot of money. And I feel like, I haven't gone to a lot of football games in a while, but I feel like that may be just the cost these days in these stadiums. And it's expensive. You're going to be going to the World Cup again, and people are going to spend tons of money to get tickets, let alone traveling, everything else. And then before you know, if they want 3-4 beers, it's going to cost them $100. It's a lot. So overall, I think wasn't Soldier Field that I'm upset at. It's World Rugby. World Rugby dropped the ball with this. And I have past experience working in in-game entertainment, stadium entertainment down in Atlanta. And we've had big games, World Series, All-Star games, etc. The league comes in and says, this is how we're running things. This is the music going to play, whatever else. We have freedom as far as in-game entertainment goes. And same crews running the cameras, everything else. But again, this is just all in-game entertainment. But they should be coming in saying, we're going to bring in a different PA announcer. And apparently the PA announcer, I don't think he had any rugby experience. He was just being told what to say, and I can tell. Again, music was a problem. Replays was a problem on board. It was just a quiet crowd, and they didn't know how to get the crowd going. And I think part of the game was part of that. It was dull. I get it. Yeah. It was dull. But rarely did I hear the crowd break out in any kind of song my buddy Peter right next to me stood up and started singing some Irish tune, and for like 40 seconds, and no one joined in. And he sat down. He's like a little kid not getting his way, you know. But I think World Rugby needed to do better. It's them. They're putting all this money into this, and they dropped the ball as far as it went with the stadium. It's on them, not Soldier Field, not Chicago. So if anyone wants to bitch, you can bitch at me, but mostly them.
Well, I think the key thing there is hopefully lessons learned, right? Like you can't cut corners and expect the quality all across the board to be fine, right? Like the in-game experience, you got to have someone who knows what is going on, or you're going to lose the crowd. You can't charge $17 for a beer. And there's the whole, like, I'm sure they did the demographic study, like they know the audience and maybe they've got more expendable income, but I'm sorry, charging $17 for a Miller Lite is outrageous. It's outrageous.
It's crazy. And I looked around because I like my IPAs and stuff. Nothing. And I had one beer the entire game. And I'd like to say that's a normal thing. It's not. I have more when I go to these games, but
responsibly.
Yeah, well, actually, stepping back for a second from music, it started early. The national anthems. The New Zealand national anthem was messed up. They didn't play the music at the start correctly, and then apparently I couldn't hear from where I was sitting, but the haka wasn't mic'd properly as well. So again, all these things, they seem to do well in 2016 and have forgotten and didn't do it right this time. And again, it's the worst time. Again, all eyes. Everyone's thinking, "Oh, U.S. isn't ready for this. America shouldn't be hosting," and then this happens. It's not. It's just it's not the right view. And Fitzy, also, news came out just recently from Wales Online about the potential of Six Nations matches could be played in the U.S. as well. Now the tournament has never been held outside of Europe, but there are plans of bringing matches to the United States in the coming years. That'd be a blast. What do you think?
It's interesting, right? Like, sure, would I love to go watch a Six Nations rugby match here in the U.S.? Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather go to Europe and see it.
Yeah.
The interesting about it is that I don't believe World Rugby actually controls the Six Nations tournament. I believe those are the Six Nations tournaments that are doing that. So for them to pull matches out of Europe and take it to the U.S., that must mean they probably are going to have to get, compensated a bit, right? Yeah. So what does that necessarily mean? World Rugby's putting more money into the Six Nations pockets to stage a couple of matches here in the U.S. And is that money going to funnel through the local stuff? So, like, I've got some question marks about it. Like, it sounds like a great idea. Oh, yeah, like great big international, more matches in the U.S. Sure. I'm sure it'll be well attended, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem.
But who, though, also? I mean, it's World Rugby will probably be compensating the two teams who are going to lose, or at least the home team who will lose a home match. Only 5 Six Nations matches that they would play, right? So to lose, let's say Ireland, they lose a home match at Aviva, where they're taking all that revenue, all that money, the beer money, whatever else, and now you're going to have, throwing this out there, Ireland versus Italy in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Not many Italians come to that. Maybe Ben Bonassa, he's Italian, right?
He's from Argentina. Maybe.
Yes, that's what I said.
Maybe there's a grandmother.
Yeah, he's dual qualified. I don't think. I mean, these South Africa match that was there a while back, or in LA, I don't think was that well attended, or didn't have that kind of atmosphere that Ireland, New Zealand had. So who's it going to be? I mean, if they're going to draw fans, it's got to be maybe France, England, or France, Ireland, or whatever, that kind of thing. So, they're trying to boost up viewership, boost up the local community in the United States enjoying these big matches. And we've got 6 years or less, about 6 years now to get there. Yeah. All right. That's it. Enough of that. Moving on. Let's come back here for local news. Big news just came out, Fitzy, it's not good for Major League Rugby, although early on they said we could do a league with 5 teams. That's what I understood. Well, unless another team signs up in a hurry, we're down to 5. Utah Warriors have dropped out, which has been heavily rumored for a long time. Fitzy, you have your ear on the ground with that kind of stuff. What have you heard about this, or has anything changed since the rumors began?
I don't know. I think we're all anticipating or waiting for the news to drop that Utah was officially going to be out for the 2026 MLR season. And it's really too bad because it seemed like there was some change in the ownership around, just needing more funds. I totally get it. I mean, the clubs are not making money. Utah seemed like a model up there. They were building, they had pretty good attendance, a great stadium. Looks like a fun fan environment. They had high performance. They were bringing international matches,
youth
to some stadiums around there. So it seemed like everything was trending in the right direction. And it just, 5 or 6 years was probably, the roadmap for trying to get this thing to lift off, and it didn't quite get there. And you can't fault for owners to say, I can't continue to throw money into this thing, and it's too bad. I think there was, you might have it here, the graphic where it just says, this is just going to be a refocus,
So that was a question of mine also. It's just right there. Although this might feel like a goodbye, it's really just a shift in our focus. So, they already do a great job with local club youth rugby. I mean, or the academy. We've talked to a couple people from Utah over the years who are heavily involved in the pathways of American rugby. So, is that their shift in focus, or top of our head, are they going to start playing the South American League like Glendale did? That's money.
It's going to cost a lot of money to go down down to Super Rugby Americas. I mean, I'm not convinced the 2026 MLR season is actually going to happen. So if that's the case, and it seems like rugby really is thriving in South America, Super Rugby Americas, announced a couple other expansion franchises are joining. The US, and could they MLR owners figure something out with the franchises down there? Maybe potentially, but I hope it doesn't have to get to that point. But
I feel like it's too late for the 26th season to get to that
probably.
point. I forget when those seasons begin down there, but that's a whole other ball of wax as far as money goes. Travel.
Yep.
Even if they go there and they play 3 matches or 2 matches and say, or a team from South America comes up here, they, play a match in Boston, then play a match in DC for 2 weeks, and you got expenses to the hotels, all that stuff. So it's a lot of money. And we're down to 6 teams now, right? MLR Weekly, our friends over there at the Rugby Wrap Up MLR Weekly, they wrote on Twitter that they have it on good authority that 26 will proceed with 6 teams. We'll see.
I would love for that to happen. I think maybe we're jumping ahead here, but there's a club that still might be under some pressure here, who may not officially be in, which could, if the league drops to 5, I don't know what the contingency plan is for them to continue forward with 5. So, I don't know if we're out of the woods yet on whether or not 2026 MLR season is going to happen. I want to be optimistic because obviously invested in this, and players and fans and coaches and all that stuff. But I don't know, Bill. I think we're all waiting for good news.
Right. We're waiting for good news. We're waiting for even a schedule. All right. This is good. We got these teams. World Rugby is already spending all this money on developing for the World Cup. And part of it is Anthem. Now, what's keeping them from coming in and saying, okay, listen, we need MLR to work. So here's a loan, whatever else. Utah or whatever said team that may be rumored to also be having issues. Here, we're gonna bankroll you for another season. And then we're going to help NOLA and Miami, whoever else, get back in the year after, right? I haven't looked at the numbers, but how much money does World Rugby make off of each World Cup? Is it worth the investment to have America get out of the pool stage? Or does that even matter in 27? Doesn't it really matter? The USA makes it out of the pool stage. Again, it's everyone's coming in from other countries to watch their teams play.
Yeah. There's a lot of chat about private equity coming into Major League Rugby, but why would you come in right now? You could say it's a distressed property and you can get another cheap. And maybe that's World Rugby's thing. It's like World Rugby's going to potentially wait till it's almost officially over, where they can swoop in, maybe get it for less, and then probably get more ownership, because that's what they want, to be able to make decisions around where things are going to go. Could that happen? It's probably a very real possibility. World Rugby has been investing a lot of money, not necessarily in the U.S., but commercial opportunities for matches to happen here. Could World Rugby come in and try and prop up Major League Rugby? Potentially. It just might mean they grab a lot more of the ownership and the say than maybe some of the MLR team owners would be like. But that is just pure speculation on my part. So,
well, it's also owners right now looking at the league saying, okay, we're 6 teams or 7 teams prior to this week. We only have 6 home games now or 5 home games, less revenue being brought in, or should I say, less money they'll lose throughout the season because let's be honest, we're all losing money still. And now we're down to 5 home games maybe with this, or 6, who knows? So you're not pulling in money from ticket sales or merchandise sales of the games or drink sales. It's tough. So, and then we look at other teams who are still kind of in it. They're trying, right? They're going on like the league is going on. I mean, stuff is out. So some negatives recently. New England Free Jacks were fined for a tampering charge. I believe they actually listed Tom Kindly as the reason. And that makes sense. General manager is dealing with players. Unclear exactly what that means, but the fact that a pick or a player is going to Anthem, it could be a player that was with Anthem at the time or was already going to Anthem, and they're saying, no, you can't do that kind of deal. All right, we don't know enough about that. And also, again, we haven't heard anything from MLR, right, directly about anything going on right now. We've heard one thing this whole off season about we're going to have a season, and no scheduling, no format. Now that all changes with Utah out. Who knows what the formats can be like? I mean, how can you have 2 conferences now with only 6 teams?
It's probably just one.
Oh yeah, exactly. Is it going to start later now since there's less games, or still keep it on the same time? When's it going to begin and end? And who's going to stick around? Who's going to, who I guess even like a college kid, why am I getting to the draft? There's 5 teams now and, whatever else. And that's next year, obviously. But, and then broadcast. I mean, I know they already have deals. I think most of these teams sign 1-year deals with their local broadcast partners. So, again, now it's like, we have 10 games, and that's all we have, that kind of deal. I guess I would cross that bridge later. But I said a negative. Now looking at the positive, Fitzy, there's been team signings. Chicago, I believe, has been killing it. They've been signing a lot of players, and including. Well, first let's touch on this really quick. They re-signed a number of players. Peyton Wall, Mac Jones, Bosco, Keefe. Talked about this team with Will McGee last week, and then you add in their new signings, which I think are even better than their re-signings. These are 3 quality players right here, and Tapete, Nathan, and Santiago. And I want you to say Santiago's full name for me, if you don't mind.
I think it's Santiago Videla. I think so.
Nice. Well, they are making the biggest splash right now, so they are moving on like there's a season. So just for us right now, Fitzy, just talk a bit about their signings, looking at Tavit as probably the number 1 signing right there. And I just think back to what Will was saying as well about the upcoming season.
Yeah, it's awesome to see Chicago being so active in their announcements, and there are a couple other teams. We'll talk about them in a second. It seems like a real clear intent here, given, right?
Yeah.
Tavita Petty, Menziegel, Nathan Denhoyd, who is a pathway player who's soon to, I believe, gain U.S. eligibility. Bringing back Peyton Wall, obviously Marco Keefe, Cap Deagle, right? So these are all players. Michael Basque is part of the setup. These are all players who. Very clear intent on making sure prioritizing, domestic players, given the changes that are going to happen with the foreign player slots here. But as we talked with Will McGee, and he stressed that, given all the turmoil, they were still going to march on as if the season is happening, making signings, being cognizant, though, of course, of how difficult it is for players if they have families and stuff to just uproot and change things, right? And those conversations can be difficult. But if anything, hopefully maybe it's reassuring to fans that the season's going to happen because clubs are continuing to announce signings. I think MLR wants some positive news. Anytime there's a team announcing a signing, you hope it energizes the fan base, gets people chattering a little bit. But yeah, with a couple of these other teams not announcing anything yet, you would say Chicago maybe's got the pole position to take a crack at the title that they just missed out on. I mean, that ball doesn't hit the post. They beat the Free Jacks last year and end that run, but that's not how it worked out.
That's not how it worked out. And another team, though, well, just real quick, let's back what you just said there. I mean, there's a couple of teams that have done nothing. Seattle, California Legion, Free Jacks. Free Jacks signed a new forwards coach. Nothing from them so far. But the other team we have heard a number of things from is the team in your old backyard, DC Old Glory DC. I apologize. I believe they signed one of the more exciting future players in Max Schumacher. I like him a lot.
Yep.
I think he's going to be a great fit for this team. And of course, Ben, I mentioned the Irish or the Italian Ben Bonassa earlier.
Yeah.
And then the re-signings of two quality players as well, including Corey Daniel. They're doing it right. They're moving forward. They have a sight on how to become better teams, and I believe DC is a better team than they were last year. So talk about maybe at least these four guys and what it means to the Old Glory success.
Yeah, absolutely. And Old Glory DC ownership, Paul Sheehy, Chris Dunleavy, they have stressed about that they want to bring on men's Eagles and young, future Eagles as part of the development for the team. That's how they want to win, which is awesome, right? Obviously, Corey Daniel, Ethan McVie left. He capped Eagles, scrum half. Now he's going to be elsewhere. You've got Connor Buckley, who should be a capped Eagle, who's not capped Eagle yet, but Tommaso Boni was there. David Nangali, of course, is capped. Corey Daniel, Jack Scaro, who's I don't know if he's going to be back because he's playing really well, which is probably great for him. But then bringing in a guy like Max Schumacher, as you mentioned, certainly I think if you've been watching the last few matches, and I know you have, men's Eagles, seems like there's some selection question marks, particularly in the back, particularly at full back. I think Max Schumacher is obviously in the mix. He's on the way there. Let's throw him out there. Let's get him some game time. He can also play a little fly half if need be. I think fullback is probably his spot. And obviously Ben Bonasso, he's been a captain of the men's Eagles before, brings a lot of leadership, would fit into an Old Glory DC squad that does have some Argentine players, right? So there's the language familiarity. Obviously Ben speaks Spanish and English, but a direct placement for Jamison Fernandez-Schultz, who has left. Where he is going, I don't know. I've got some ideas where he is going. I'm thinking West Coast. I just told Jamma and those close to him, I was like, just please don't go to New England. Just don't go to New England, man. Come on.
Fair enough.
I think we'll see a couple more signings from Old Glory as well. And I'm interested to see what's going on in Seattle because we know that Malachi Isdale left Seattle and is signed with Anthem. So interesting point there. So, maybe this is a good segue to talk Anthem.
Well, yes. Also, before we get to Anthem, I was trying to find the document from Will, and I can't find it right now. But there was a list of players. Actually, it might have been week 4, but there was a list of players still sitting out there. Like when's Seth Smith going to sign with somebody? I mean, he's not becoming Eagle. There's a number of players we haven't seen yet. Why? Maybe it's the worry of, are we actually going to have a season? That we haven't seen teams. Free Jacks are always signing players in the offseason, always making announcements, and they're quiet. So I think part of it for them is the lack of Canadians, which you're just seeing in here. Well, not the lack of the many Canadians. So, and that's changing. And honestly, I didn't think it would make a big impact, the new rules, new laws. But again, the Free Jacks announced 8 of their Canadian eligible players have been released just recently this offseason.
It sounds like they didn't release all of them.
There's more, but I think they released 8 of them. There's 8 that have been released, but there are more.
Yep.
And they're very quality players, I think, could start in any MLR team, no matter what the rules are. But you look at Cam Nordy-Kilameti, the scrum half who helped them win last year, and Jack Reeves, another great player. So those are 2 names right there that gone. Do they get signed from the team? That's the problem. Or they may not. And then the only Canadian so far that I've seen signed was a re-signing by DC, right? And Callie Martinez, who's a quality player. So we're looking at those quality players. I mean, maybe those couple players from the Free Jacks are locked up anyway. I guess it's hard to find multi-year contracts in the league, but they have them. So good thing for him. I'm glad there's been a Canadian so far. I think Brian Ray is less upset about that. But you did lead into it. Anthem. right? They did make some signings also. They've re-signed some players. They re-signed Sangola, McKean Alicon, Alex Mon, and they signed to, which we all I think expected this, Luke Carty, fly half, and Malachi Esdell, a wing from Seattle. I think Luke was with NOLA or Chicago last year. I forget which one, but or both. Who knows? But those are good signings, and I feel that Anthem obviously going to have a better team. These are veterans. We're going to help them push towards a win. And then it's an interesting thing, Fitzy. The USA roster right now only has 3 players from Anthem. 4 if you include Junior Gaffa, who's on the non-traveling reserve roster. We got Alicon, Storty, and Wilson on with them, who we'll probably see all 3 of them this weekend, hopefully. But that's only 3 players from what a team of 18 Eagles or something. So what's your thoughts on Anthem?
Well, Sam Gala's injured. So that's another big one. He'll be coming back soon. He's obviously a key part of that the setup down there, and obviously for the future, the men's Eagles. But it seems like there's been, for a variety of reasons, a shift in focus for Anthem and more of a we want to develop young Eagles, but we also need some tried and true tested veterans to come in here who can really help pull this team along and get some wins to kind of get momentum. Because no one wants to play for a team that isn't winning. I mean, they haven't won a game yet. And Isdell, he's played in MLR before. He's got an international pedigree. Lucardi, obviously, capped Eagle. So you're starting to bring over some more of these players to bring a little bit more veteran leadership, maybe up the quality of play among the domestic players. Everyone keeps talking about, this is going to be the year for Anthem to get a win. I hope so, if there's a season.
Yeah. I
don't mean to be so, short, but maybe.
I feel for the guys. I mean, what do they do? What if, let's just say the worst thing happens, there's no season? What are these guys doing? It's a little late. It's getting later and later for anyone maybe to try to sign overseas. I can't imagine Ascaro, Tonga are the only 2 players that European clubs have reached out to. Right?
Well, Shiloh Klein, right? Shiloh Klein, he's signed.
Shiloh Klein, right. Shiloh Klein.
He's over there. Yep.
Yeah, hasn't played yet, but he'll probably get some time very soon. But yeah, it's just, it had to be more, and maybe they said, just thank you, but, I'm dedicated to my MLR team, let's say. So hopefully it doesn't come back and bite them. And then all of a sudden, after the second match coming up for the Eagles, they're like, okay, I'm not playing rugby, I guess, until next summer when we have Eagles camp again. It's scary. Hopefully it doesn't get to that. But let's jump into the Eagles, Fitzy. USA Rugby, let's just say I didn't watch the second half, only because I had to get to the Ireland-New Zealand game. Let's just say that's the reason I stopped watching. But 85-0 to Scotland. Oh, that hurts. The match was the only saving grace here is the match was outside of the regulation 9 window, so a good chance to try some young guys, different lineups. Maybe that's what Scott was going for. But let's not dig too much into that match. There's too much we could talk about that went wrong or didn't happen. But generally speaking, and I'm a big Scott Lawrence believer. But generally thinking, what's your opinion on this? Is Scott falling out of favor?
From whom, though? From fans? From
maybe the fans, maybe the players. There seem to be some players that are not in the mix that could be. They're just not making themselves available. So is he part of that problem?
There's a lot of things we don't know, right? We don't know the selection process. We don't know what guys are raising their hand or saying, I can't do it. So there's a lot of things, right? It's easy for us and pundits and others to say, how come Schumacher and how come they're not being selected and why Joe Mano isn't in the setup, right? We don't know what's going on in each particular situation. I think we sometimes have, and there's a couple of accounts out there that love to just pile on USA Rugby and the sport of rugby here in the US. And I get it. Maybe get clicks and all that. And maybe some of that it's because of the US's position in the grand scheme of things. I get it. Taking us down a bit. Fine. Go for it. Take your shots. I do believe in Scott Lawrence, but even if you believe in someone, you can still have questions. You can still believe and have some doubts and want to understand a bit more what's going on. And I got to give credit to Scott because he's come on all these programs. He's come on our show. He's gone on MLR Weekly. He's talked to Alex Goff. It's not like he's hiding anything, and I'm sure he hears it, and the players hear the chatter, and everyone's talking about it. And certainly he doesn't want to go over to Scotland and lose 85-0. I mean, I think gone are the days of US like surprising a quote unquote tier 1 nation, like the way they took out Scotland. Like Scotland was not going to let the US come into Murray Field and put a surprise on them. Like that just wasn't going to happen, right? Certainly things need to be fixed and fine-tuned. Sometimes, though, in 80 minutes, you're just going to play another side that's just better than you. We're just not there yet. And that isn't necessarily Scott Lawrence's fault. It isn't necessarily USA Rugby's fault. It isn't necessarily Major League Rugby's fault. But, like, I think we've identified how we can get better. It's just, progress sometimes, right? It's like, and then you're like, oh, there's it's going this way. You can't see it, right? But you don't see the ups and downs. There's definitely a down period. But not even a month ago, we were all super excited because they qualified for Rugby World Cup 27 by beating Samoa, right? A little bit of a different team.
Yeah, true.
Long-winded answer to say maybe Scott's fallen out of favor for certain folks, but I'm still believing in it because if you make the switch now, what are you going to? What is the next? Yeah. Isn't there just fire him? Okay, then what's the plan after that? Do we hit?
Right.
People who
the thing is,
what's the plan? What's the plan?
Right. I mean, after the 27 World Cup, assuming he's still here with that, I can't imagine him being around for 31 because what coach is around that long for an international side, right? But that doesn't matter. It's about getting to 31. If he's there for 31, great. That means what he's doing is working, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's tough. And you look at that lineup we have right now, and you're right. There's a lot of players we don't know why they're not in. There could be injuries, could have stuff going on. I think. Mano, I think, was off. He wasn't available during the summer. And different players, Jama's been hurt on and off here, that kind of thing. So would we do any better? What's that? Yeah. I mean, would we do any better against Scotland if we had our full front row from Europe, who's, Tonga, Anu'u, KP, that kind of thing?
Well, we're going to need it for Georgia.
We're going to need it for Georgia. And let's do that. Let's get let's go to Georgia. I mean, let's you and I, let's go to Georgia.
Let's go. Let's go. Sounds like a lovely place.
Georgia is this weekend. Okay, now it begins. These next two matches help USA get in a better position, hopefully, for a better pool for the World Cup, which we're going to touch on the World Cup in a second. But let's talk about Georgia real quick. It's this Saturday morning, November 8th, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Get your coffee ready. Let's get watching that game. This is going to be a hard game. Georgia is, ranked 11th. USA is 15th. Georgia did lose to South Africa back in July, 55 to 10. South Africa had a completely uncapped front row as starters, and then they lost to Ireland 34-5. Honestly, 34-5 isn't horrible, especially after 85-0 to Scotland for USA. I'll take it. But Georgia's got huge physical players. But we should see, as we mentioned a minute ago, Fitzy, we should see Jack Ascaro back. Tonga Coffee. I list Tonga in there, but I don't think Tonga has that experience yet. He's getting it still. He's a big dude. He played pretty well with in the Premier Cup for Leicester this past weekend. He got some few minutes in there. Anu'u is back, which would be a big deal. He's still young, which is great because you and I talked about it. He was rumored to be out of USA, playing for whatever reasons, and I ran with it, so I was bummed, etc. No KP. Any thoughts about? Obviously there's opinions. We don't know. Any thoughts about what we could see this weekend from the USA squad?
Yeah, I think it starts right there in that forward pack, in that front row. Need to have a strong, dominant scrum to just hang with Georgia, because we know the strength of this Georgia pack is they're a big physical bunch, right? They're going to be physical at the breakdown. It's going to be a hard-hitting match, right? Like I come to expect that from Georgia. All their players are playing professionally in leagues all over Europe, right?
Yep.
So that's got to happen. Like the set piece, the lineouts, got to tighten all that up. Got to win those lineouts. Like the nuts and bolts of just like playing good rugby, right? That's got to be there. Be curious to see what the game plan is going to be on the attack. And obviously, and we haven't really talked about this yet because, it was such heartbreaking news, but like AJ McGinty is out, right? We're not going to have AJ McGinty. Hopefully he comes back in the run up to Rugby World Cup 2027. It sounds like it, I haven't heard directly from him, but from folks around him, it sounds like he wants to get back. Like that's his thing, right? Fantastic. AJ McGinty is a world-class fly half. He's a world-class operator. And I'm not knocking Chris Helsenbeck and Luke Hardy, but there's a difference there, right? There's a reason why AJ is playing in the Premiership, right? So the attack is going to change a little bit. And I think that was one of my bigger issues is how are we going to get from the injury of AJ to when he returns? What can we do to really get things a little more dynamic in the back line and make plays happen? I'm not sure exactly. Now, the game plan against Georgia might be a little bit different. It could be a grind out, slog it out, possession, kick and chase and high balls and kick for goals if we've got them. But I want to see an intense match. I'm okay if some of our guys get fired up and start a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I really am. I don't have a problem with that. I want to see guys fight back. And I'm not suggesting that they just lay down against Scotland. But if a dude throws a punch at someone, hey, there's some fight in us. There's some spirit. I'm okay with it.
I am too. It's get to the point where I want to punch somebody. So come on, guys, get angry. I don't get a red card. I don't care. Punch somebody. We'll deal with it later.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily punch them, but in someone's face, jaw a little bit. Show them we're not going to just get pushed over. You know what I mean? There's some energy.
No, I'm all about it. Gouge an eye out. I don't care. Let's go. Hey, speaking of gouging an eye out, and I do this to myself, and I shouldn't, because I completely understand it's personal decisions, whatever else. Titi Lemon-Satelli has been listed in the Samoa squad. I'm like, it's just I don't poke my eyes out because of him specifically for that, but wondering how it would be if he still was active with the USA outfit. He's a big dude. He's a massive forward, lots of experience. There's all the, you can keep on, we can talk about the blue interface. It doesn't matter anymore, obviously, because it doesn't matter. He's not going to be in a USA Eagles uniform, but it hurts. He's one of those guys. It hurts. Moving forward, we got Romania the week after, ranked number 21. That's a game that has to be won.
Yep.
Beating Georgia will be nice, but Romania has to be won. 10 a.m. on the November 15th. They are in Romania. I don't mind that 10 a.m. spot. That's a little easier for me to watch. But again, seeding takes place in December. Very important match for them. We can beat them. We can beat Romania.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be an easy match because Romania has beaten the men's Eagles recently.
Oh yeah,
and Romania wants to take us down. They want to improve. It's a must win. We got to get through this November slate with a win. Romania, absolutely. We should have all of the guys barring any injuries, but that should be full on 80 minutes. If we can run up the score because we can, then freaking do it.
Oh, I know. Let's freaking do it. So, if we win against Romania, let's say we beat both teams. We've been talking about the 27 World Cup bans and deal. So, when we look at these bans right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is where we currently stand. In order to get out of band 3, we need help.
I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, even if we beat Georgia, it happens. Yeah,
Georgia, Spain, Japan need to lose. We according to the rankings calculator, if we win out these next two, we go ahead of Spain. Spain drops back. If Japan has to lose 2, I don't see it happening. It's just too many ifs. Whatever, the total rankings there again. Looking at this, Wales, Georgia 11, Romania way down there as well. So again, worst case, we drop to 4. I don't know. I don't really see that happening. I think we're going to we'll be stuck right here in 3. I'll take it. Again, Chile's got their repechage is coming up soon, right? Is Chile's in repechage, right? No, they're in. What am I thinking? We just saw the list of them in
Brazil.
Brazil. Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, I missed some information there. The World Cup draw will be on TV. Do you remember what that's on? Probably on Rugby Pass or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know how exciting that's going to be. That should be a drinking game. Every time they say Romania, drink.
Okay.
So let's jump. Yeah, let's jump forward. Fitz, we touched on it. Let's go to 31 World Cup. The World Rugby did announce a list of applicant cities featuring 33 venues. These are signed letters of intent to host matches, and World Rugby is looking for a mix of venue sizes from NFL stadiums to college football grounds. I'm surprised they weren't looking for a little bit smaller, like soccer fields that fit 18, 20,000. Looking at this list, what stands out for you? Anything interesting that stands out?
Well, yeah, a few people have pointed out a couple of things. One, right, like Arizona is obviously not a state,
Right.
so
It's an area.
and it's an area. Birmingham, Alabama is interesting. They've got a college football presence there.
Oh, true.
I mean, St. Louis, that's always been a city rumored for an MLR team. It's cool to see them on there. New York, New Jersey always cracks me up because what do they mean? Do they mean Giant Stadium, MetLife? Just call it New
Right.
Jersey, not New York. San Francisco Bay Area. That doesn't mean San Francisco. To me, that means what? Levi's Stadium down there where the 49ers play.
Yep.
It's interesting. DC's on the list. Of course, obviously, they've had some strong showings. Scotland, England. Past couple of times the men's Eagles have played in DC, have been played really well at Audi Field. There likely will be a new NFL stadium in Washington, D.C. by 2031. The Washington Commanders. That could be a nice little, brand new stadium to host a match. Chicago, obviously. I mean, Chicago's in the mix for sure. Baltimore. Let's go. Baltimore.
Baltimore. Well, so looking at these cities in areas, let's say, I'm thinking that World Rugby will try to put the pools in areas, regions that are easier for the fans. Let's say, is South African fans coming in for this? I can't imagine they're going to play in Atlanta and then all of a sudden play in Chicago or the West Coast for their pool. It needs them the same. So when you look at areas like Atlanta is not just Atlanta. It's Charlotte. Charlotte's a few hours away. Yeah. It's Birmingham. Birmingham. It's so you got 3 cities right there. Or you can get down to Orlando. Nashville.
Nashville, Orlando. Yeah, there's a little cluster for sure.
Yeah, Orlando's not that far away. It's a bit of a drive, but it's an easy flight. It's not expensive. So keeping costs down to travel between matches is huge. We don't have the train system that Japan had in 2019. So that's a unless you're in the Northeast, right? New Jersey, Boston, New York, DC,
Philly,
you can get around.
Pittsburgh,
Yeah, I don't know if thankfully Buffalo didn't put in for that. Oh, good God. But there are others on there. Vancouver is listed.
Yeah.
Which is the only non-American city, although it's extremely traveled well by anyone in North America. So, but I am surprised that there are not stadiums listed for 18,000 fans. Like again, an MLS stadium. Atlanta plays in the Dome, the Georgia Dome, so that's not it. So let's say you had a game in Kansas City. They got the whichever MLS team is out there, because you're going to have games like let's say USA versus Hong Kong. They're not playing at MetLife.
Well,
they're going to be playing at a smaller stadium.
Yeah, to your point, I think the cluster idea, right? So, say there's a Mid-Atlantic, there could be, a showcase game, say where they're expecting a big attendance at one of the larger major, maybe NFL stadiums, and then for the pool matches, maybe where they anticipate international travel won't be best and demand isn't super high here in the US, that could be you played at your smaller venue, maybe college, maybe like a MLS, NWSL soccer team style stadium. So I think they're trying to build in flexibility because some of those pool matches aren't gonna have the most demand, whereas France versus South Africa, people are gonna come out for that in and around a major city. I hope.
Yeah. You hope. All right, Fitz, so let's wrap it up. Excuse me. I'm going to go first. I'm going to give a few points or a few opinions of how I feel the state of the American game is at this point. And then you're going to go. Okay? Don't really know what I'm going to say yet, so give me a second.
Neither do I.
No. Despite the negatives that we're all feeling right now, I do think the game is in a better place. And, of course, I go all the way back 12 years from now. How difficult it was to watch a game on TV. It doesn't matter what it is. It's Premiership overseas, it's USA Rugby, whatever. It was very hard to watch any rugby on TV. It is now easily available. You have to spend a few bucks, but it's out there. This game has come a long way. Is it showing on the Eagles pitch? Not for the men, at least. Women are rising. Women's game is picking up, and good for them, and I'm happy for them. WER is really good for them, although it did decimate a few women's clubs. Amateur clubs that have been big teams over the years. They lost a lot of players and had to cancel their or drop out of their league this past spring. MLR, pretty certain we're going to have a season, even with 6 teams. It's got to be somebody's got to step in. If MLR is done, it's done. It's going to be years until we get a professional league. It's not like, oh, okay, we're going to try again in 27. No. You don't do that. It's just there's too much money involved, too many contracts, etc. So we're okay. The State of the Union, I think, is okay. We're a little scared right now, a little worried, but it's in a place where people are able to watch the games, YouTube, ESPN, whatever is on, and in a place where we can sit and bitch about it and can say what's going on, because people have been paying attention for a while now, and they're like, okay, this needs to get better. So it's visible. We're able to complain about it, and I think it is rising. Possibly slow slope. It's rising, but it's getting there, and that's my points.
Yeah, I think there's I'll piggyback on that. I think there's 2 things that have me encouraged about the state of rugby in the U.S., and I'm going to go all the way down to the grassroots, simply because that's where I touch rugby the most these days with my kids playing rugby. I've got 3 kids. One is 6, 7, and 9. I had to check their ages again. But we came from Washington, D.C. We played in D.C. Youth Rugby, which was an all-volunteer, completely free rugby program in Washington, D.C., which is awesome. And they get numbers up and down every year, but it's always fun going out, encouraging and seeing new kids play rugby. And I was just like, man, I wish I was at your age touching the rugby ball. I didn't touch rugby ball until I was a freshman in college at 17, right? So, and there's always going to be issues with making sure kids come out in a timely manner and sticking with the sport. But when you see a few kids who've been playing for 4 or 5 years and you see them at a tournament and they're crushing it, you're just like, man, there's hope, man. Just can we get more of guys and girls like that to come out and play? And that's the biggest thing. And I mean, it goes without saying, like the credit to the volunteers that come out and dedicate their time to help grow the sport of rugby, to coach kids, which is not easy, to introduce this sport, to folks who've never seen it before. It's not easy, right? Now we're in Los Angeles. Our kids I'm helping coach in the LA Youth Rugby program. It's a little bit bigger program. I'm looking at some of the registration numbers. The season is starting soon out here in the wintertime. I'm encouraged by the number of kids that have already signed up in each different age group, and with the plans to have two teams at each age level, a team that goes out there and really competes to try and win, and then a development side for those who are just learning the sport so they can try and figure it out to help them get up there. I mean, the fact that they could potentially field 2 sides at each age level from U8, U10, U12, 14, 16, or whatever up, like that is inspiring stuff, right? So like I'm encouraged by that. And the other thing I'm encouraged by, what's happening in college rugby, right? Like rugby in college is where a lot of people pick up the ball for the first time. It's good to see it happening younger and younger. And I just want to shout out NCR Rugby real quick, because they've got a really cool bunch of like shows that they do across YouTube and Instagram, sharing highlights and clips and getting people engaged in sport in a fun way. And go check that out. The College Rugby Show, Pat Clifton, Zach Lanning, and others. They do a really good job. If you see it, like it, share it. I'm encouraged by those 2 things, Bill. That's where I think it's going to be the long road, obviously. Whatever happens with Major League Rugby, the game is happening at the grassroots level, and we just need more kids to get involved, more coaches and parents and everything to get involved, and just help out, volunteer, try and make it happen.
You just mentioned that show just so you can get on another podcast, don't you?
Trying to, yeah, man.
Because you why not get them all? Get all the podcasts, Fitzy.
That's the other thing. I'm tired of seeing myself all the time on these shows. Get other people talking out there. Get other people out there talking.
And there's more and more. That's the other thing. There's more and more podcasts going on, so it's great. Hey, I want to thank Rob Hammerschmidt for having me on the Rugby Rant in Chicago at Reggie's. That was a blast. Got to talk to some really cool people and talk about what it all means, which I think I BS'd enough. I think it worked out. Fitzy, great work. Let's play us out with this tune here, which we listened on the way in.
Major League USA Rugby, American Rugby, and now Bill and Fitzy. Bring you State of.
Let's get a band.
State of the Rugby Union.
Thank you all. We will catch you next time. Later.